This is Professor Campbell, and I've got a little demonstration of accounts receivable journal entries for factoring. So let's take a look at data that we could get. So if you have a question and it says write the journal entries out for factoring, you want to gather the data. So it doesn't matter if it's the ice cream shop or the lawnmower company, those things don't matter. You have company and you have a factor. All right. So what are we looking for in the problem? The accounts receivable. How much accounts receivable are they going to factor? So 60,000 in this particular problem. We're looking for a factor fee. Okay. They will say a factor fee, and in this case, it's going to be 2% of total. And so right away, we know that that's going to be $1,200. And the factor retains. So we're looking for how much does the factor retain? And they're going to retain 10%. So the proceeds, 90% is going to be remitted. Okay, so these numbers can vary depending upon the risk of the accounts receivable and what the factor wants to assume. So the bank or the factor, okay, doesn't matter what the company name is, it has an estimate. So we're looking for the word estimate of the value of that retainage, okay, and they think it's 5,000. The company will have an estimate as well. And how much is recourse? So we're looking for the recourse if we have to use that. Okay, so those are the kind of information items that we could pull out of the narrative of a problem. So let's first do it without recourse. So they went to the bank and they said, we'd like some cash for our receivables. And the bank said, fine, here's my terms. Let's go. Cash, again, we got 90% times 60,000. I got 54,000. I have a loss on sale. Okay. In my journal entry, I'm going to pull that as a drop down, but I'm not going to put a dollar amount in it yet. Then I have receivable from factor. And that's going to be that 5,000. That's the bank factor estimate minus his fee, 1,200. Okay. So that's going to be 3,800. And what am I going to credit? Accounts receivable. I'm going to send them over my entire list of receivables to collect for me. Now, this doesn't balance yet. I still need this number here. So this minus these two equals 2,200, and that's my loss on the sale. I double check to make sure that this equals 60,000. Okay. Yep. Okay, I'm balanced. Now, with recourse, cash is still the same, 90% times 60K. Loss on sale, well, we don't know what that is, so we'll leave that blank. Just pull it in our drop down. And then we have a receivable from factor. And once again, that's 5,000 minus 1,200. That's the 3,800. And then I have a recourse liability. And I estimated that that was going to be 3,000. and accounts receivable for 60,000. So this liability account on the balance sheet, as things are collected, if everything gets collected, that recourse liability goes away. If not, if it stays at that rate, then we still have the loss on sale of 5,200 if that recourse liability stays. Otherwise, it's adjusted as it's collected. But apparently, if you have very little faith in your in your in your accounts receivable, and you think, oh, some of them might come back to bite me, I'm doing this with recourse. The bank can come back to me and say, hey, these people haven't collected. We advanced you money based on that. So let's take that money back. All right. There's one other curveball, and that is we subtracted the fee from the receivable from factor. Sometimes the factor can say, no, I'm going to take it out of your cash. So be careful reading the narrative on your problem that you could have this particular fee taken out of cash. So you would just have a lower amount of cash, and this would be 5,000 for the receivable from factor. All right. So if they say they collect the fee from the retainage, that means that you subtract it. If they say pay the fee up front, that means you subtract it from the cash up front. Okay, this has been journal entries on factoring accounts receivable without recourse and with recourse. Thank you very much. This is Professor Campbell.